Hey, sweet friends, welcome to a new series where I will be breaking down how I made every single cookie in this Disney World themed set. Now, because there are so many designs in this set, I actually am going to do a full tutorial video for each design on its own. I'm limited by the amount of space on my hard drives, and so to do a huge mammoth video with all of the designs that's about an hour and a half to 2 hours long, it's just not, my computer can't handle it. So instead, I thought I would just break down every design into its own video and then put all of them into a playlist so that then you can just watch each video on its own. I hope that that works for you guys. You'll have to give me some feedback on if you like that style better than just one huge video where you can just digest each one individually, or if you really do prefer them to all be in one video and you just take your time going through them. So give me some feedback and let me know what you think so that in the future I know how to move forward with my designs. So first up today, we are going to be talking about the cookie that says 2022. Welcome to Rock City Cookies, where we talk about all things cookies. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon to be notified when we upload a new video. Thanks for watching. Our first design in this set is a Mickey head cookie with the year 2022 on top. Now, obviously, we are nearing the end of 2022. For you guys, if you are planning on making a set that looks like this, either for a Disney World theme, a Mickey or Minnie theme, anything along those lines, you are going to need to change the year. But this design makes that really easy to do. You can simply change out the 2022 for 2023, 2024, just any font where you stack your two numbers on top, the 20, and then your two numbers on bottom, 22, 23, 24, whatever year that you are needing to put on your cookie. This is a really easy design change. Now, to start with the cookie, we are obviously going to need to have our base for the cookie first. So you are going to outline your cookie, your Mickey head, first. Now, I do use two different consistencies. So the outline consistency is a thicker consistency. This will help keep that thinner icing, that flood consistency icing on your cookie, and it helps to keep it from falling over the edge. Now, immediately after I do the outline, I then flood my cookie. I don't wait. I flood as soon as I get that outline on the cookie. And the reason for that is because, one, I don't want to have to waste time waiting for that cookie to dry. I also don't want to waste time moving the cookie off, moving it back on later. I want this whole step completed all at once. But also, when you flood your cookie right after you put the outline on, that outline and the flood kind of merge together a lot more cleaner. So then it's not so obvious that there's an outline and then there's a flood. It blends together a lot better. And really, depending on what kind of preference, what kind of look you prefer, you may like the look of an outline and the flood separate. Totally fine. I just kind of prefer to hide that outline. So this is just up to you. But if you flood right after you outline, it will help to disguise that outline. So then it's just not so distinct and you get kind of a more upgraded finish, I feel like. After you have outlined and flooded your cookie, I then place my cookie on a tray on my baker's rack, and then I put a oscillating fan in front of it and I allow those cookies to dry for several hours, because the next step is to do marker work on this cookie. So you need your cookie to be very dry before you touch it with a marker. And the reason for this is because when you use a marker on top of any sort of royal icing, if it's not completely dry, it's really easy to accidentally puncture through your icing. And the last thing you want is holes in your beautiful flood icing. So make sure that you allow this cookie to dry for a good while before you do this next step. Now, when I went to search for this graphic, and don't forget, if you are a Patreon member, all of these graphics will be available to you on Patreon. But this specific graphic, when I'm looking for something to project onto a cookie to use as a background, since I do not have an airbrush, I have to do marker work here. So when I'm looking for an image to kind of look like an airbrushed look, I usually search for pattern or wallpaper. So in this case, I searched for a Mickey pattern or a Mickey wallpaper, Mickey outline pattern, Mickey head wallpaper, something along those lines. And you should have some images pull up. And I did find there were a whole lot of options for me. And so I knew that basically I needed to choose the right size of Mickey head. I didn't want it too small where you kind of lose the definition and it's way more work with a smaller pattern. But also you didn't want it too big where you couldn't even tell that they were Mickey heads. So you kind of needed a medium-sized Mickey head pattern to go on this cookie. Now, this Mickey head cookie cutter is going to be listed in our Etsy shop. We have 3 different sizes of the Mickey head. This one is the medium size Mickey head cookie cutter, and all of that will be in the description box below. So once you have your pattern picked out and it's projected on the cookie and your cookie is ready to be written on, you will use an edible marker. Now, this particular edible marker is the Rainbow Dust brand that I purchased on Amazon. However, I also have a ton of other generic packs of edible markers from Amazon that I will also link below. The reason why I like Rainbow Dust is because it does have a 2-sided pen and both sides are a little bit on the thinner side as far as your markers go, which really helps when you're doing a pattern like this, when you're doing smaller work. I didn't want the thinnest side, but even the next to thinnest side, even the other side isn't as thick as some of the other markers that are on the market. So I really do enjoy the Rainbow Dust markers. I don't know that they're the best thing out there, but they do work for most of my projects, or I use the other pack of markers that has all the different colors too. So I'll link both of them in the description box below and you can find out what you prefer. Now you may have to zoom your image in and out on your cookie to kind of get it to look the best for your particular design. But once you have covered your cookie with your Mickey head pattern, then you are able to add some more detail work on top. Now I think the pattern itself, it makes a cute enough cookie. So if you wanted to just leave it with just the background on, just the flood with the pattern, I think that looks like a really cute design in itself. But I did want to put the year on these cookies just to make them more custom and to, like, when you look back at pictures, it's obvious that it's that certain year. So there's that element to it just to make it a more custom look. But the cookie itself is cute enough on its own if you don't want to put a year or any sort of writing on top. Now in my Fonto app, I did just create this graphic and then I projected it onto the cookie for the year. And again, you can modify this for whatever year that you are doing your custom cookies, but you do want to make sure that you outline and flood with a thicker consistency icing. This does not need to be flood. It does not need to be so thin as what you use for the base of your cookie because you will get craters, and craters are just holes in the icing. So make sure you use somewhat of a thicker icing, a medium kind of consistency icing for any of this detail work on top. Now I did kind of get too close to a couple of my numbers, and so with my scribe tool, I just cleaned up that icing and gave a little bit more separation while my icing was still wet. So don't forget, if you make mistakes, it's okay. Just try to fix them the best you can in the moment. Sometimes it's better to wait until something has dried, but typically I find if I can fix something while it's wet, that's usually the cleanest I can get it. So once I separated the 0 and the 2, I still thought this needed just something a little bit extra. So I wanted to incorporate the red color, which is all over our set as well, because the colors for this theme were black, white, red, and yellow. So I decided that with my red, I would just outline the Mickey head just to give it a little bit more of a pop. And that's it, guys. We are done completely with our very first design in this Disney World set. Next up is the castle silhouette. So that will be in the next tutorial video, which will drop in a couple of days. Thank you so much for watching, sweet friends. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.